Hi, everyone. Today, let's talk about the stock market. After a fairly mediocre earnings, Apple decided to surge today over 7%. And we got Elon Musk, the Doge father, taking over Twitter and officially firing the CEO and CFO and probably lots of other people. And then we got some charts to take a look at going into next week. And then lastly, of course, we have to look at my results for the week and then my positions going into Monday. If you like trading stocks and options and making money, definitely like and subscribe. I make videos like this every single day, so make sure you hit the bell so you don't miss out on any future episodes. Welcome to the Portfolio Bulletin. Let's get started. So starting with the markets, you can see the Dow surged over 800 points to close out the week. The S&Ps were up around 2.5%. Nasdaq was up around 2.7% after initially opening lower. There has been some pretty consistent talk that the Fed might go with a 50 basis points hike instead of the 75 basis point hike. People are saying inflation might be slowing down, especially with the bad earnings. Amazon going down 10% based on weak earnings. iPhone demand was pretty weak. And then despite that, and being down a little bit after hours, Apple stock rallied more than 7% today, and we'll take a look at those charts later. And then we got the big oil giants out there making big money. Chevron and Exxon both up pretty strong today, posting record earnings due to record demand in fossil fuels. Taking a closer look at that Apple surge, up over 7%. I'll actually say that Intel did outperform Apple in the short term in the Dow Industrial Average here on Friday, but of course Intel is down more than 50% from its highs, not nearly the same as Apple, which is still quite strong on the year. And they're saying that this is due to the big growth in demand for their PC as well as the sales, despite being in that post-COVID environment. And an analyst from JP Morgan said that sometimes inline results is exceptional compared to the rest of big tech, which really did struggle this earnings season. And in other news, Elon Musk officially took over Twitter, fired the CEO and CFO, and he immediately tweeted that the bird is free. Certainly going to be interesting what happens to Twitter now. Is he going to relist it on the open stock market? Is he going to continue to own it? Will Twitter be a more open space for open discussion? Or will it just become a cesspool of nonsense? If anything Elon has done to this point is a record of what he will do with Twitter, I'm sure it'll go great, and it'll be pretty fun for everybody. It should at least be interesting to watch. Moving over to the S&P 500, you can see we closed on Friday at around $374.60, and we rallied about 4% actually from that Friday close. So maybe a little bit more than the article said. They probably wrote that article a little bit before the close, and it really rallied extensively here into the close. But it's worth mentioning here, we are getting into that territory where we're in the middle of this range. We got just past this resistance point, it seems like, that middle of the line resistance point. The same region where we had some at the end of May into June. And there could certainly be a point here where we see some consolidation and a retracement. This is obviously very aggressive, although I will say we're not overbought yet here on the RSI. Momentum is still pretty strong. We haven't even crossed over here the center line on the MACD. So still looks pretty strong, up a little bit even after hours here. This channel is still intact. Continue to trade the trend until we're told otherwise. But yep, start to get a little bit hesitant here as we get into the upper ranges where we have seen resistance here in the past. The ultimate price target, which would be up here at this resistance point, would be around $413 or so, which would still be a great gain from where we are right now. If it looks exactly like this, it should be a pretty straight shot. Of course, the market doesn't always do the same thing twice, and rarely does it do so, so definitely keep that in the back of your mind. Jump here, maybe a retest, and then a continuation. Moving over here to the NASDAQ, you can see not as strong of a bullish movement here. On Friday, we did have a strong push, so we closed right at 275 or so. And today we finished just above 281, so about a 2% gain, so maybe a little bit less here than what the article said, just about 2.1%. So not a bad week, but not as strong as the S&Ps. Not in that resistance range yet. The ultimate goal here for the NASDAQ would be around 307, 310. If we got above 300 at all, it'd still be a great gain, another 20 points higher than where we are right now. And that's what it looks like here on the daily chart. And then we got the Russell outperforming everybody here. Finished the week at 172, almost 173 on Friday. And today we finished at 183, almost 184, so up 6% just in the course of a week. In terms of price targets, we do get up to resistance. That would be around 200, maybe 203, which is again 20 points higher than where we are right now. It also would not surprise me if we got a retest of this longer term support level, get that strong breakthrough, retest here, and then continue higher, which would put a price target actually a little further out at around 210. with this longer term bullish structure that we have here in the Russell. So on this one, the Russell still remains the strongest index right now and did the best on the week. Moving over to top gainers on the day, we got Apple at up over 7% with this huge green bar here on the daily chart. You can see we have somewhat of a structure here. It's almost like a widening pattern here, which means we're getting a little bit of increased volatility on Apple. This is certainly some tough trading here on the daily chart. You can see you open the week at 147, get all the way up to 152, back down to 144, and then closing the week at 156. Man, that's tough to trade. That's really hard to get around. But ultimately, Apple is pulling up the market here today. Not something that I would probably be trading here in the short term, but it's good to see that Apple is a little bit bullish here because that definitely pulls up the S&Ps and the NASDAQ and the Dow. So really pulls up the rest of the market when Apple is on a rally. Moving over here to AMD, a stock that I used to trade quite a bit actually. It's got a little bit of a bullish structure going on. Of course, this is still long-term bearish. The stock was $162 here in December at the start of the year. And since then, greater 75% all the way down to $55 here, the most recent lows. Back up to $62. Big red day yesterday, big green day today. So definitely a little bit of momentum here. Probably got some benefit from the rest of the markets going up. Got some uptrend here in the RSI. Momentum is growing. And that's definitely good to see. We want to see semiconductors gaining a little bit of momentum. NVIDIA was also getting some growth here today and building that bullish momentum. Lots of room for getting up to that resistance point that we had here previously. If we get into that $80 to $83 price range, that would definitely be extremely bullish for the NASDAQ and for growth. So definitely keep an eye out for a breakout. Short-term resistance at $70. Longer-term resistance in that $80 to $85 range. Moving over to the dollar here, got a little bit of a doji here, a spinning top. Got that retrace that I warned about yesterday. It did continue today. Then we got a little bit of rejection at that previous support line, which became resistance. If we get a nice down day on Monday, that should be very strong for stocks. This kind of wick that we had here in the middle of the day, I'm sure helped benefit the rest of the markets as well. So looking good. If we get a breakdown to previous support, that'll be good for stocks. And if we do get a break below this level, then definitely going to be looking for much higher highs in the stock market and equities. It is worth noting here that bonds did not follow the rally today. We got a doji here and a little bit of a red doji, so gap down at the open. Momentum is still strong, still got that cross, so I would expect this to continue at some point next week. But we did get a little bit of a slow here. Definitely a little bit of a warning sign to be cautious with stocks, especially how overbought they are right now. If this does go down and interest rates start to go a little bit higher, that could be tougher for growth in the early parts of next week. And then moving over here to J&K, you can see we got that big rally all week from last week, all the way right up to that resistance where I thought that we would stop this week. I would expect to see a little bit of a retrace next week off of this resistance, and then hopefully we get a continuation and we can start building this bullish structure and start to see some more progression here in growth. You can see we're obviously still very sold off from where we were previously, but there's definitely some life here in J&K, and hopefully we see a rally just like we did here, which coincided with the rally in stocks. And then finishing up here with volatility or the VIX. Got a huge red day today, which makes sense. That big up day in stocks, big down day in the VIX. Momentum is increasing to the downside here. Start keeping an eye on this RSI. We're getting pretty close to those oversold conditions. We get another 1 or 2 more down days like this. Maybe Wednesday, we get a retracement here in the VIX. We get that oversold condition and we get a bounce maybe up to this resistance point back at 28, 25 or so. And that would spell some weakness for stocks. Moving over to my accounts, you can see we had a big up day, $1,400, a little bit more than $1,400. My Roth IRA is really close to being flat on the year. I'm hoping to finish just a little bit in the green on my IRA. That would be great. Then if we can just get a little bit closer to flat here in my individual account or my taxable account, I don't think that's going to happen. That would be a lot of ground to make up in the last 2 months of the year. But with my Roth IRA, I certainly expect if we can continue to trade well and continue to trend up here a little bit, that I should be able to get this at least to zero, if not a little bit higher. Looking at my positions, pretty much the same as they were going into today. Got that one put that expired worthless. I did roll out my puts here for 181 and 182 to Monday. Got a little bit of a profit here at 181, a little bit of a loss here at 182, but I'm going to be trying to get into some shares here for IWM at 182, buying it actually a little bit lower with the credit here. So really buying it closer to 181. Then here on the NASDAQ, I did actually roll up and out these calls to 275. I was a little bit hesitant to be opening more puts on Monday after this big update over 8.5 points. Certainly looks a little extended on the charts here, getting right up to that upper range. And you can see the upper band here is at 283.50, so not a lot of room before we start getting some pretty decent resistance. Something like we saw here, we could certainly ride that upper bound for a little bit, and then usually at some point you have a reversion to the mean. So be careful. So for me, I'm being a little bit careful, just rolled out these calls, got a little bit of credit here. And then I have one put on Monday is at 287. So a couple of dollars lower than we are right now. And I got a $1 credit for that. So not looking to make a ton of money on Monday, actually being a little bit more cautious going into Monday after that big rally today. Comment down below what you think of this daily video. I've really been making a push here recently to make daily content, and it seems like the response has been pretty strong. Definitely really appreciate that support. If you want me to continue these daily videos, it is quite a bit of work, so definitely like and subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss out on future episodes. Of course, none of this is financial advice. This is all for entertainment purposes. Good luck in your trading and have a great day.